Hello and welcome to Unshaken Families, a podcast by parents for parents who are doing a pretty good job, could be doing better, and are trying not to beat themselves up about that. I'm your host, James Lapine, and I believe that becoming a parent is one of the biggest shifts you can experience in life. In the teaser episode, I talked a little bit about what that looked like for my wife and me, and today starts season 1, The Wisdom of Reddit. So, by the way, this podcast is a ministry of the Paradox Church in Fort Worth, Texas. And if you were with us in the spring of 2024, you heard our preaching series on wisdom. Our basic thesis was that people go to the Bible for issues of morality, right and wrong, but we tend to go to the internet for issues of wisdom. We tend to Google things before we look for answers in our Bible. And so that's what we're going to explore in season 1. I saw this article on lifehacker.com, which, by the way, kind of proves my point. You know, we have this whole website dedicated to hacking our lives and getting ahead, and tips and tricks. And the title of the article was The Best Parenting Advice According to Reddit. And so I said, well, that sounds interesting. Let's check that out. There was apparently this viral Reddit thread with the single best parenting advice that these Redditors had found. They'd compiled it into this thread. And in season 1, we're going to take a look at that advice. We're going to just examine it piece by piece. We'll talk about what's true, what's maybe not so true, and what the Bible has to say about it. So each week we'll announce the piece of advice. Forrest, Bell, are y'all ready for the announcement of our first piece of advice?
Oh, we're ready.
Let's go. Hit me with that drum roll. Yeah. No one knows your kid better than you. No one knows your kid better than you. And I'm gonna rate the veracity of these statements each week. So 0 to 100, what's the percent of truth on this statement? And so my first rating is 50% true for no one knows your kid better than you. What do you think about that? 50%.
I was expecting higher. I'm ready for your explanation.
Okay. Well, let me explain. I'm going to start off right here in the middle. This is a piece of advice, but there was a story that went along with it. So this is, maybe you've heard this kind of story before. This is the story of a parent who knew that something was wrong with their kid. Maybe you've been this parent. They just knew it. And so they go to the hospital, and the first hospital tells them something that I think infuriates moms. They said, this is just the new mom jitters. And I mean, really, does anything make you angrier than that, moms? But of course, this mother was not satisfied with the response. So the parents continued on with their quest. And the next doctor had a very different story from the first doctor. Next doctor says, your kid has a kidney infection. And so I don't know anything about medical things. You can ask my wife, but I think a kidney infection is kind of a big deal. Yeah. And it was not just the new mom jitters. And so this is where the piece of advice is born from. No one knows your kid better than you, especially, the doctor at the first hospital. And so like Bell said, why did I rank this one 50% true? What's true about it and what's not so true about no one knows your kid better than you. Here's what I mean. God has given you as parents a particular authority and knowledge with your kid. He has put you in charge of them, and he's given you the responsibility of determining what's best for them. That's a good and healthy weight that you should feel to raise and care for your kids. But the thing that you have to keep in mind is that God knows them even better than you. And not to Jesus juke you, but God knit them together in your wombs, Mom. And sometimes, forgive me for this, but sometimes mom gut can be a code word for I'm anxious, just let me do this. And dads, it's true for you too. I have plenty of dads who have the dad gut, and what we often mean in that is I don't want any pushback. I don't want other opinions. Something's wrong. We're going to the doctor. I Googled it, and it's either cancer or nothing. But if it's cancer, so we all fall prey to Dr. Google. But here's the other thing. Guess what? Sometimes mom gut, just like in the Reddit story, is completely legitimate, and something needs to be done. Sometimes the doctor doesn't know what he's talking about, and that's where the trap of anxiety really starts to settle in. It's a twap. It's a twap, as they say in Star Wars. And what happens is when you catch something for the first time, you start to worry about every little thing, right? So think about the mom in the story. Oh my gosh, if I hadn't caught that, this kidney infection, it could have been terrible. So now you feel like you have to catch everything. And that is a lot of weight for you to bear. So what do we do? How do we know when to trust the mom gut or the dad gut? Not that kind of gut, the instinct, guys. When do we go to the doctor and when do we stay home? Forrest, do we have a womp womp noise? Because I do not have a straight answer for them. Womp womp. Sorry, y'all. My wife and I are still very much figuring this out. Questions like these take wisdom and practice, and there really is no one size fits all. That's why I rated it 50% true. But the good news is you can't and won't do this perfectly, and you don't have to. Don't put yourself on the throne when it comes to your kid. Only God is on the throne. And like I said earlier, that's just too much weight for you to bear. And so if you're always worried about your mom gut missing something, then you're going to be racked by anxiety because, again, it all falls on you, and that's too much weight. On the other hand, if you're paying more attention to your phone than your kid, if you're never worried about their well-being, then you're definitely going to miss some stuff. But ultimately, it's God that holds it all together. It's not you, not me. So pay attention to your kid. Get your work done. Throw your phone in the ocean. Read your Bible and pray. Things will probably be okay. And when they're not, we are not those without hope. God is making all things new. And so back to our advice. Does anyone know your kid better than you? Yes and no. In an earthly sense, of course, no one knows your kid better than you. A teacher or a coach or a friend might know them well, but they are your kid. But in a kingdom sense, not only does God know your kid better than you, he also loves them more than you. And he wants good things for them more than you. And I hope that truth leads you to more freedom or to more focus, whichever one it is that you need today. Hey, if you enjoyed today's episode, invite a friend to the party, follow along, make sure to subscribe, all that jazz. And we'll see you next time for our next piece of advice, which is children can't meet an expectation unless the expectation has been explained to them. The folks who love the phrase clarity is kindness are going absolutely wild right now. They love this one. We'll see you next time on Unshaken Families.